now pretending that we didn't see craziness on the way up, and now we need to see some nuclear explosion on the way down. It seems to me pretty wild, pretty crazy to believe. And again, for the newcomers, sometimes it's better to log out from X. It's good not to stay more hour inside, try to find good information, because nobody knows. And if you have the wrong feed or the wrong people, you might also fall for some kind of narratives. Maybe you get caught in fear, maybe you get caught in some kind of panic, and you might create a worse decision making for yourself. So again, we are on the bottom trend for the power line. We are also on the more than 50% of the supply is now in a loss, which normally coincided on any type of bear market bottoming formation.
Hello everyone, here we are again after a Saturday that we were not live because of my trip to Bristol and the crack internet on the place that I was staying. Here we are again in the middle of a tough week when Bitcoin crashed around 18,000 US dollars. Strategy sold a portion of their Bitcoin, and now the SATA and Stretch are out of their pair. So, and here again, we are going to discuss this in Bangkok. Immortal, how are you doing?
Hello, guys. What a week we have, huh? It was a big storm, probably bigger than the one that we have in February. So let's discuss about that and how we get out of this mess.
Yes, how are we going to get out? I think that YouTube is not working, but we are live on X without any issues. So let's move forward, and then I will upload the video in YouTube. And in Ancona, we have Marco Battistoshi. How are you doing?
Hi, guys. As you said, Fernando, it was a tough weeks. And maybe next time don't go to Bristol. So maybe that's why we didn't record and we have this kind of a storm. But we will discuss the different points and bear markets behavior. So if for people it's the first time, it will be hard. It sucks usually, but at some point we will go out of it. So you just need to build more foundation and more conviction on Bitcoin.
Yes, Bitcoin price right now is 60,935 US dollar. Remember that a few hours ago it crashed a couple of times below 60K. So I want to start with this. Yesterday, market crashed terrible. There was not Bitcoin related. And Bitcoin crashed, but not as big as the market. And we see that it's moving around 60K. Do you think that 60K is the bottom, or we can expect more blood in the upcoming weeks?
So my position was since February. So I remember when we recorded the episode after the other crash, that the mood was pretty bad, and that it seems to be kind of bottoming formation. I think today we are retesting those levels, so 59, 60, 61. The chances are that we go a bit lower, possible. But again, I think it's a liquidity issue right now, especially after the next IPO, the big IPO that will be launched over the next weeks in the US stock market. I think Bitcoin is signaling to the market that the liquidity is very constrained, that someone needs to do something on the highest level on the central banks, especially in the US. If we held the 60K and the bear market is over in the next months, I think it will be a great win for Bitcoin, because guys, we will be just back from the all-time high around 52%, which in Bitcoin standard is not that significant. So again, expect tough week ahead, but now the bulls needs to show up and try to defend this level. If we go lower, it's possible to revisit some high 50. But again, I don't see Bitcoin going to 30 or going to crazy number that are now full on X. People claiming for 10K, 15K, zero. So I think it's overblown. But maybe below 60 to some liquidity and some weak Week down, it's totally possible, but I don't see the 30 or the 20s that some bears are shit posting on X.
Yeah, I think well, we've been calling 60 the bottom for a while, and we're not gonna change the position. I think we are absolutely cracked so far, holding around. So, but taking this bet at this level is like betting on this 100 to 1 odd horse. So it's a really risky bet. But why we take the position that 60 was the bottom? Because of a couple of external mathematical observations. One of them is the 200 moving average, 200 week moving average. So that number is at this point around 61K, which means we are right there. Only, I think, 4 or 5 times in the 17 years history of Bitcoin, we cracked that level. So if we indeed go way below the 61K level, we will be in front of a historic event. It happens only 4, 5, maybe 6 times in history. And also calling 40K, which it could be 50% below this level, it will definitely never happen in history. So that's why crash all the theories of the 40K. If that happens, not saying that it cannot happen, anything can happen in the market, right? But if that happens, it would be another historic event on top of a historic event, which is today. This day, don't take it lightly. Don't try to normalize it. It's completely out of any statistical scenario. The other one is when we take the power law, we are also way below, but in terms of power law, we are still, it will still be possible that we go lower because power law at this time, the trend line would be around 130K and we are at 60, so which is around 55% below it, which in terms of a standard deviation, that is 1.1, 1.2. Totally normal. That doesn't break the theory of the power law at all. One standard deviation is no kind of a normal event. Still, we are way below the trend line. But yeah, calling for a 20, 30, 40% below here is absolutely ridiculous. It's, I mean, there is no fundamental for that. You can call it, but it's like just going to buy a lottery ticket. If you get it, congratulations. But it's not based on anything, just luck.
Yeah. Maybe if I can add, Fernando, also the fact that we didn't have this euphoric bull run, similarly to what we had maybe in 2017 and 2021. We didn't have the massive money printing. We didn't have the balance sheet from the central banks ballooning. We didn't have any kind of crazy scenario on Bitcoin. We had some euphoric movement in some treasury companies. We had some maybe euphoric movement in some niche type of the market, but for sure not on Bitcoin. It was, growing it maybe at an accelerated pace in some months, but we never see anything crazy. So now pretending that we didn't see craziness on the way up, and now we need to see some, nuclear explosion on the way down. It seems to me pretty wild, pretty crazy to believe. And again, for the newcomers, sometimes it's better to log out from X. It's good not to, stay more hour inside, try to find good information because nobody knows. And if you have the wrong feed or the wrong people, you might also fall for some kind of narratives. Maybe you get caught in fear. Maybe you get caught in some kind of panic, and you might create a worse decision making for yourself. So again, we are on the bottom trend on the power line. We are in the also on the more than 50% of the supply is now in a loss, which normally coincided on any type of bear market bottoming formation. So there is this very good chart from Glassnode that I recommend everybody to go and watch. Is an historical snapshot since 2011 in which it describes the total supply of Bitcoin And normally when we see that the total supply goes in loss for more than 50%, normally signals that the market is trying to find consensus on the price and normally mark the bottom. So it happened in 2022. I think it happened in 2018. And now it's approaching this 50%. Maybe we crashed with the crash yesterday. We already overcome the 50%. So it means that is another signal that the bottom might be in. So again, don't panic now. Don't sell your sats or your Bitcoin or your position just because you saw some tweet on X. I hope nobody went crazy on leverage. I hope as we try to to tell to people, don't go on leverage, don't do crazy extended kind of short-term trading because market can kill you. So I hope everybody's safe out there. But again, it's 52% drawdown from the all-time high for Bitcoin is not that bad.
Yeah, and
Yeah, just to complement what Marco is saying about the leverage thing, short-term positions is if someone would have entered a long position, let's say something like 10x on Monday or Tuesday when the price of Bitcoin was 67, the next day it dropped to 62, that wipe out your whole 10x position. That is a 10% drawdown, which will wipe out your whole 10x position. So that's the importance of not playing with leverage at any type,
Yeah.
Especially this long one. Well, right? If someone will still like to play with leverage, let's say 3 would be a maximum position that you might take, and still you're not going to be safe. Even in the first crash last year, I think it took out also leverage positions at 3. So it's never a safe bet to play leverage. At this time, the only advice is just to keep DCAing and try to strategically buy the dips, because this is the other thing that happens. And when the first dip happens, everybody goes on Twitter to just bought the dip with all the money had at that time. And now when the second dip comes, you are run out of cash to keep deploying. So if you still have cash, try to deploy it percentually. Like you can do 25% in the first dip, 25 in the next dip, 25 in the next. So take in consideration that is never the last dip. And we all have this feeling when there was a big dip, we go all in, and the next day, boom, another big dip, bigger than the previous one. You run out of cash.
Time with this, yes.
Oh, now is the time. I think that I always say that bull markets, because when price goes up, all the people come to Bitcoin, all the newbies come to Bitcoin. It is also, you see the sentiment on X or the engagement. You don't have the same engagement or views. In fact, during the conference, we were talking about this with Ed Julin from Bitcoin Treasury Conference, the one who is organizing that. And he said it's very difficult to put this conference now in the middle of bear market, because the only people who come are the people who are already convinced on Bitcoin. So all the people who was on Bristol last week, they were all Bitcoiners. They were not crazy about the price going down. But there are new people coming. There are not new people coming to the space. For the new people who came in the last year with the bull run to 100, that was not we say was not a bull run, was simply Bitcoin going to the normal price, to the fair price, and bought in 100, bought in 90, probably bought in 80, or bought at the beginning of the year because they thought that there was the dip. Again, I recommend the same as Marco, hold. Don't go to Twitter following any crazy people who only look for engagement, saying, no, now I will sell because I will rebuy at 40K, because probably this 40K will never come. What we can see, in my opinion, in the numbers I see in the liquidation and the liquidity, I still say that 60K was the bottom. We said the last time touched 60K a couple of months ago. I'm still saying now, what can happen can go lower to to clean some liquidity in the 55K and then go up. So what is happening now, of course, we cannot say that we are safe, but yesterday when all the markets were crashing, Bitcoin crashing to 59,500 and then going immediately up to 61, something that is happening today, these are good news. So we don't know what can we expect for the future, but for those who bought higher, don't sell, don't do these crazy things. Oh, I will sell now and buy again when it's 40. For people who are trying to enter to Bitcoin now, don't wait for the 40. Many people are saying, no, I will go in when it's 40. I will go all in when it's 40, because probably this 40K never come. And when Bitcoin is 1 million in a couple of years, it doesn't care if you bought at 60, at 80, at 40 or 50.
Yeah.
It doesn't care. The only good thing is to buy Bitcoin and hold and enjoy. And if you are, for people who are really feeling bad, go outside.
Wait a second. Enjoy what?
Enjoy the pain.
Nobody is fucking enjoying anything.
No.
This is a massacre.
What I say,
Come on.
what I say, of course, I'm not enjoying at all. Yesterday, I went to sleep with the phone, watching the price going down. But I'm not saying it was the wrong way, the wrong word saying enjoy. If you have money, enjoy buying at this price for sure. But if you are crazy on X, go outside, touch the grass. Bitcoin is not going to zero. Bitcoin is going to 1 million, 10 million, 50 million, because the fundamentals are still there. The only thing that changed was the price, not the fundamentals. Bitcoin is still TikTok next block. We still have, I check now that the last block was mined 4 minutes ago. The blockchain is still working. In a couple of days, we are going to have a huge difficulty adjustment. The halving is going to be in 2028, and Bitcoin is not going to zero. It's going to 1 million. What can happen in the next weeks? I don't know. But again, touch the grass. And for those who have money, enjoy the two
discount.
You are buying two at the price of one.
Look, come on, Marco. You are more Italian than me. What the fuck enjoy means in this context?
No, guys, I mean, I see what Nando tried to convey and say, but let me say something that is also true. Don't focus on the highs, focus on the lows. So again, when it's bear market time, people need to, try to be reassured about something. And if you see the chart of Bitcoin, in 2012, it went down from, I think, $30 to roughly $3. Then on the next cycle, it went from 1,000 to 280. So we had 3 and 280 as the bottom price. Then we went to 2017, and the price crashed to 3,200, which again, it's 3, 280, 3,200. Then with the FTX collapse, it was 16,000. Today, it's 60,000. Okay, we are not sure yet. We cannot call 100% at the bottom of 60. But even if it's go a bit lower, let's say 50,000 is still 4 times higher than the previous bottom. So by focusing on the price bottom, I think it gives people much better clarity on where Bitcoin is going. Because if we just focus on the highs, it might be a bit confusing to understand. But if you see the lows, the trajectory is very clear. So again, in a couple of months or in 1 year from now, we will see that this moment was another bottom formation, maybe between $50,000 and $60,000. Liquidity will come back because again, Bitcoin is the kind of the vigilant on the market, saying that some problem is with us. Someone needs to intervene. There is liquidity shrinking. There is points of missing liquidity in the market. Maybe also the IPOs that I mentioned before are like massive draining liquidity because people think that now SpaceX at 2 trillion, it's a massive, it's a very good deal, or Anthropic or OpenAI at 1.5 trillion, it's an amazing bet. Whereas probably the amazing bet is for the venture capitalists, the seed funders, and the early investor of those companies. And again, liquidity is moving from crypto and Bitcoin outside, waiting for this IPO. But again, this money will probably come back at some point. And again, as you said, Fernando, and also you, Diego, Bitcoin fundamentals didn't change. Every 10 minutes we have the block. It's a bit empty. So people are complaining that we are not using Bitcoin as properly intended. But the infrastructure, the system, the nodes, the everything is on track. So the fundamental didn't change. It's just the liquidity moving out to catch new potential deals, which in my views are not really good at 2 trillion. When you buy a private company launched in the IPO at 2 trillion, something is very, very shady. And I think a lot of people will lose money in those trades. And in the next months, the liquidity will go back to Bitcoin, because we know that when they will start printing and easing the system, not necessarily only via interest rate, but also the regulation from the banks or allowing the Fed to buy the treasury, de facto creating new money, this money will flow into Bitcoin again. So don't panic now, please.
Before we move into the next topic, let me place another high-risk bet here regarding the 60K bottom theory. When Wall Street opened yesterday here in Asia, the Bitcoin price was 61K. Today, after one really big Black Friday in Wall Street, the Bitcoin still to one. After the whole fucking Nasdaq dropped 4.8%. So that is another sign of the strength of this level. Not saying it can go lower, of course, can go lower tomorrow, it can go lower next week or next month. But there is something on the fundamentals and the statistical view of the whole history of Bitcoin that makes really, really tough if we go deeper than this. And this, I think, is another signal, because don't take it lightly. What happened yesterday in Wall Street, it wasn't another normal event. Don't normalize it. It was a really, really big crash. So that Bitcoin survived that, which has a week to 59.6.5. It's kind of a miracle. So yeah, that's what I wanted to
and probably we can see that Bitcoin is the canary in the coal mine, because it's the most liquid asset in the world. So all the price drop that we were seeing last week was pointing to this crash on Friday, and Bitcoin probably already bottomed. So we don't know what's going to happen. The only thing that we know is that the Bitcoin is going to go up forever. When you do the zoom out, Bitcoin will go up forever. No matter what's going to happen in the next few weeks, Bitcoin will go up forever. And again, for those who have money, who still have money, I think that I will sell this chair. For those who still have money, enjoy the paid one, get two. So that's my point. The other point that I wanted to touch today is, okay, when these Bitcoin price crashes happen, we need to try to explain or find guilty people. And most of the community now is pointing Saylor. Bitcoin crashed because Saylor. That's the point. Bitcoin crashed because Saylor sold 32 Bitcoin.
Hilarious, yes. Crazy.
So what do you think about this?
But nobody cries that he sold it at 77K. What happened with people that they bought expensive? Now they sold too expensive too, but nobody say shit.
Yeah, it would be a nice strategy if you can sell 32 Bitcoin at 77 and buy back, 5,000 Bitcoin at 65, and still people will make this trade, Everybody needs to find, as you said, an scapegoat, Fernando. They need to blame someone else, not themselves. They need to blame someone else because X, Y, and Z. For sure, strategy and the treasury companies suffered a lot since, let's say, 2025 up to today. It's true, but it's a trade. The fundamental on Bitcoin. We always said that the treasury companies are vehicles built on top of Bitcoin with more volatility, with management of a company, with risk associated with publicly listed entities, and etc., and so many other factors. So if you want to try to beat Bitcoin return, you need also to take more losses eventually, because again, you cannot expect to go faster than Bitcoin, but then when the shit hit the fan, you just are losing as much as Bitcoin, because there is a leverage bet on top of Bitcoin. But again, saying that Saylor is to blame because he sold 32, not 32,000, 32, which is 0.00, maybe another 0.5% of the holdings. Someone said is as if you have one Bitcoin and you sold 3,500 Satoshis, which today is like, I don't know, $3, $2, which normally is the fee when there is congestion on the blockchain that you need to pay to do a transaction. I mean, not today because we have 1 sat per byte, but when the blockchain is more, used in the past, it was, maybe 1,000 Satoshi was possible to pay. So it's literally nothing. And blaming Saylor for this event, it's hilarious, it's stupid. But yeah, I want also to hear your point, guys, on this event.
Well, during the first crash from 74 to 69, I actually ran the maths. Meanwhile, I'm going to see if I can find that post. But the thing is the following, just to quantify how insignificant 32 Bitcoins are, is that first crash, 74 to 69, took a sell pressure of 120,000 Bitcoin.
Okay.
So we run this math. It is the trading volume in these days. It was something like 800,000 Bitcoins, and the sell pressure was overcoming the buying pressure by 120,000. So that is what took to move the price from 74 to 69. And we also see that when Saylor bought in one of the biggest weeks of strategy, when he bought 35,000 K Bitcoin spread on 1 week, the price didn't even flinch. Nobody even noticed that Saylor was buying 35,000 Bitcoin. That's because most of the time people is saying, what happened that the price doesn't move even when Saylor is buying? Well, because even 35,000 Bitcoins in a week is nothing compared to the volume of trading that there is in Bitcoin. What actually matters is 100K Bitcoin in 1 day. That actually moved the price by quite a lot. And then from the 69 to the 59, probably, and now I'm estimating, if in the first tranche 120,000 Bitcoin was sold, probably until 59, it had took at least 500K Bitcoin. And the second question is who is selling? Where did Bitcoin being transferred from hand to hand? And it's another study that we run. This is not the Bitcoin Maxi. This is not the OGs. This is not the treasury companies. Be clear, 32 Bitcoin means nothing, and nobody else is actually selling Bitcoin unless a few of the companies that are really under stress, and it's a tiny amount, tiny. And we call tiny 5,000 Bitcoin is tiny. But on the other hand, there is 3 million Bitcoins held in the hands of paper hand whales. 3 million Bitcoin. So these are the guys who are selling. This is where this 100, 200,000 Bitcoin sell pressure per day is coming. Good news is that these guys are selling to someone else. Who? Bitcoin Maxis, the BMF Club, as we call it in the Spanish version, the Bitcoin treasury companies. So it's being transferred from paper hands into more diamond style hands. So it's also a good news when this crash happens, because it means it's a repositioning of the wealth structure of Bitcoin. It makes Bitcoin stronger.
Yes, of course. And the other thing that I heard about that is like, okay, 32 Bitcoin, of course, doesn't make any movement on the price, but is the signal that Saylor is sending to the market. So Saylor sold 32 Bitcoin and all the people lose their confidence and start selling. So this is bullshit. This is another bullshit. Because in fact, it's not that Saylor, they already said that they were thinking about selling some Bitcoin in the earnings call. So it's not a surprise that Saylor is selling. So, anyways, it's like it's stupid.
But again, yeah, it's stupid. It's only 32, and again, the point of a company is different than an individual. For their side, they might have some wallet in a very high cost basis, as they said multiple times. By just selling those 32 Bitcoin, they can book a kind of a loss on that specific investment, so they can have some tax benefit because they are still a very large corporation. We should not forget they have like only 10 people working on the Bitcoin side of the equation, but they still have 1,500 employees on the other side. They are still doing revenues. They're still doing capex expenditure on other stuff. Compared to Bitcoin is literally nothing, but also the 32 Bitcoin is literally nothing to their own stack. So they have different ways of operations and different way of thinking rather than us, the normal people. That makes no sense maybe to sell at this point. For a company, it's different. So, but again, 32 is completely a nonsense to blame someone that Stretch is depegging because of he sold 32 Bitcoin. Guys, there is no point. People want more liquidity. Stretch, SETA, and also Bitcoin ultimately is the best form of liquidity because it's always available. And people are just taking losses because they want liquidity, either because they are fearful of the next months or because they want to deploy this liquidity to other vehicle that might be a very short-term oriented trade. So again, 32 Bitcoin and blaming Saylor is probably the most stupid kind of assessment I saw the last months. And I see a lot of stupid assessment on X, but this one probably is the most stupid of them all.
Yeah, so I wanted to share this to back up what I was saying before, which is yes, the computation, and I forgot to mention one important part about the ETFs. So this is, and don't forget, this is just the first collapse 4 days ago, from 74 to 69. But something similar happened in the next two. When was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and yesterday. So 120,000 Bitcoin, which is a selling pressure of 8 billion, was bled in one day, in 24 hours. And how does it compare to the ETF? The ETFs alone that day were losing around 500 million, 484 million. So compare this. Let's call it $500 million was drained from the ETFs versus 7.5 billion was drained from somewhere else. What is that somewhere else? Whale's wallet. This is not even retail playing on Binance with a $10,000 account. These are whales. So also when people blame the ETFs about the manipulation of the price, the ETF don't even have strength yet. It's as powerful as strategy. With that 1,800,000 Bitcoin, they still cannot fight back Whale's wallet in terms of size. And you can see with this report, which show exactly where the drainage from the sell pressure came from. It came from mostly from Whales and a little bit from the ETFs.
Yes. Yeah, that's the point. Again, I think that these whales are, of course, paper hands, are either taking profits or are either looking for liquidity in order to be part of the biggest IPO in history. So that's the way that we can see this. It's not because of the treasuries, it's not because of the ETFs. Once ETFs and especially treasuries drain all those Bitcoin in power of those paper hands, we are not going to suffer anymore this kind of drops. So that's the thing. So again, blaming Saylor for selling 32 Bitcoin, I think is the most stupid thing I've ever heard, not in Bitcoin, in the history. In the history.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
So,
Yeah.
so that's the thing. And also now they come, strategy is going to zero. Strategy again, they come. This strategy is gonna be liquidated, guys. Study. There is no way that strategy gets liquidated because they are not playing leverage. So they have Bitcoin. Even though now they come all these stupids from behind the rocks saying that now Saylor is in 10 million or 10 billion unrealized losses. It's stupid. These things are what make people get scared and led people to do stupid things.
Yeah, and I'm just checking now the yesterday closing strategy. The MNAV is 1.23 on their website. We know that maybe it's a bit lower if you consider the enterprise value, not the market cap, all these technicals, but still it's way higher than 1. And if we go back in 2022, when we went on the bottom of the bear market, I think it was 0.75 or something like this. So just to put things in perspective, okay, maybe we are not yet on the real bottom because it's almost impossible to call the exact date and the exact price, but we are in a bottoming formation. I think it's fair to say. Strategy is still trading at 1.23. So again, the business model suffered, of course, because it's based on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like minus 52%, 50% from the all-time high. So what you can expect from strategy. But again, the multiple is still way higher than 1. And again, in bear market, it can go even below 1. And strategy actually is defending it very strongly. The market is there to buy the stock because ultimately they know that the strategy is working. So I don't know, guys, if we want to move on Stretch and SETA, but again, it's I think on the fundamental on Bitcoin, it's nothing changed. The fundamental of strategy, nothing changed if you still believe in Bitcoin. These new instruments are very new. So again, I remember when Tether depeg 10%. So again, why should we assume that a new product with less than 1 year in a very turbulent condition and the need of liquidity cannot have some sort of drawdowns? Because again, they're not a stable coin. They always said the target is to be pegged at 100, but they're not stable coin. They're preferred equity, so they're a different one. But again, I remember when Tether went from $1 to 90 cents. It did multiple times over the last year. So why you should assume that those new instruments cannot go -5 or -8% in a week? It can happen.
Yes, and let me point something related to strategy. We don't have to go so far to 2022. We
Yeah.
had strategy with MNAV less than 1 a couple of months ago that everyone were in panic. What is going to happen when the MNAV is below 1? Nothing. It happened before and nothing happened. It's happening now with a bigger and stronger balance sheet with a lot of different. I don't know if you saw the engines of this ship of strategy with a lot more of engines and possibilities to keep moving forward. So again, people, if you are listening, don't listen to these morons that say that strategy is going to zero, that Saylor is going to be liquidated. Just stay calm, hold, and again, enjoy if you have more money to buy these prices. Of course, no financial advice because can keep go lower, but that's my take. Touch the grass.
On the graph for Stretch, it's something interesting to point out. What happened yesterday is again as deep as what happened on February 6th and as deep as what happened last year in the first crash. See?
Yeah.
The first one here in November, it dipped to 93. On February 6th, second Bitcoin collapse, it dipped to 93. And yesterday, 93.4 again. So don't take it lightly. What happened yesterday was an historic event. Don't mean it cannot happen again next week. But it's very unlikely this kind of event are once every while. And even these 3 in a row, I will call it, this is historic to have 3 of these events in less than one year for Bitcoin. That explains the bear market. But also, on the other hand, look at what happened after this big event happened. What happened with the price of Stretch? It took a while here, but eventually it recovered. Then we got a new big hit. It took a little while, and it recovered par. And here, not only it recovered par, it produced the biggest trading volume in history.
Mhm.
And now we have another big crash in Bitcoin, dropping the price to 93 again. And guess what's going to happen later? They're going to recover as nothing happens. Stretch is going to come back to par in a few days or weeks. And eventually we'll keep producing more Bitcoin for MSTR holders. So just zoom out, guys, and there is no much to worry. I mean,
Yes, I think that there is nothing to worry. Do you have anything else to add with Stretch and SATA, the peg from PAR?
I mean, my take is that again, the market is looking for more liquidity. I don't know exactly. It's for some potential bad news on the macro, some bad news from AI, some bad news on something, or simply because people want to participate in the largest IPO that we mentioned before. So I think in a couple of weeks, maybe in 1 month, we will understand what was the cause. Probably, guys, we should expect probably a boring / a bit problematic summer for Bitcoiners, because imagine now you go on vacation, you go to meet your friends, back to family, and people will dunk on you. It happened to us. It happens to you. It will happen again. And you need to be, strong enough to, because normally people show up only when there is days like this, like friends texting me, Bitcoin crash, blah blah blah. Yeah, but zoom out. If you see, I said to them, guys, I remember when Bitcoin crashed in COVID to $3,500 in minus 52% in 48 hours. I remember FTX. I remember even before COVID. Again, if you just focus on the last 3 months, you can dunk on me as much as you want, but the long-term trajectory is clear. But again, you need to be strong enough to do counter arguments, to reply to them. It will be a tough summer. And but again, I think, as Diego said, the peg event is possible for these instruments. Even Saylor and the team never said that is a $100 peg. They never said it's a stable coin. He tried to convey an idea that is similar to, but is for sure is not the same. But again, they can depeg. But again, if you believe in strategy or in Strive and in the Bitcoin as collateral, they are still 4 to 5x over collateralized on those instruments. So if you have cash and you still don't believe Bitcoin is going to recover soon, buy those instruments for the yield. Or if you, as I think, it's time to create DCA and bottom information, so buy Bitcoin, people maybe even just sell Stretch because they want to buy real Bitcoin. It's another trade that now we need to have on the radar. Because if you think that the bottom is in or coming to be in front of your eyes, and you have Stretch or you have SATA, you want to sell those instruments because you want to buy real Bitcoin, because this is another possible trade. So again, it might be even a signal that we are rotating back in some small way to Bitcoin, because again, now I don't want anymore the yield if I can overperform all the other asset classes over the next 12 months. So it's another kind of, arbitrage or trading opportunity that's on the table.
yeah. And one last point on Stretch is one argument that we were discussing a couple of weeks ago, were that the success of Stretch during the previous before cut of the dividend day week, the volume was massive, was records, over 1.5 billion, and we were saying this happens only because we are in a bear market. So people prefer to put the money on Stretch instead of Bitcoin.
Mhm.
So during one of hypothesis was Stretch would perform better during a bear market than during a bull market. And I was arguing that that's exactly not the case, and you can see what happened with these graphs. The price from stretch and also from SATA, the peg, exactly when Bitcoin crashed. So it's still correlated directly to Bitcoin. It's a direct proxy of Bitcoin volatility, even though it's reduced to a minimum, right? During the last month, we have it's been ranging between 99 and 1. So it's a 1% volatility asset. But when Bitcoin have a crash like this from 74 to 59 in less than 10 days, it will obviously impact in the volatility of this instrument that are a machine that are reducing the volatility. But this is the same explanation we do with the car, right? The car is pretty stable if you are going on a road with a little bump. But when you have a big bump, no matter how big are your suspension, you're going to be bumping anyways. So that's what's going to happen. And also, the argument is that when the bull run comes, and now you are cutting the dividends every 2 weeks or daily in the case of SATA, it will be less weak when something like this happens. It will still crash. The volatility of these instruments, it will depeg. Probably hard. Probably will go to 90, 94, 95. But it will be recovering much faster. Because now you have, during a bull run, you have a lot more capital coming into Bitcoin. And also you have shortened the dividends cut. So yeah, but it's still, it's correlated. The volatility of this instrument is correlated to the volatility of Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
Not particularly. I think we cover quite a lot of ground today. But again, yeah, maybe just to remind everybody that, again, if it's your first bear market, I mean, it's normal. And again, minus 52% on Bitcoin, if 59K was the bottom or is the bottom, it's a great time and we should celebrate. I know that now seems crazy to say this, but if you have been in the other 2-3 prior bear market and you see only 52% drawdown, which happened again for Tesla 1 year and a half ago, Tesla. So again, it's 50. If it's true, it's a great celebration time. We will celebrate maybe in Q3 or Q4, but it will be great. If we go lower, yeah, all the 4-year cycle bros will be happy, but I'm not sure that they will play out this way this time. And again, if it's minus 52%, you should be really celebrating. And in few years, you will look back and say, yeah, it was a nice time to buy the bottom in this range formation. So
yeah, that I think that's the point. And yeah, to point out, we don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks, as Marco says. Probably this is the bottom. Probably we can go lower. I think that the signal that we saw yesterday that was pointed by Immortal at the beginning of this episode was that yesterday was a bloodbath in Wall Street. Was not a normal day of losses. Was an atomic bomb in the middle of Wall Street, and Bitcoin stays around 60K. So these are great news. What is going to happen in the upcoming weeks? I don't know. What is going to happen in the following years? We all know Bitcoin is going to go to 1 million, 10 million, 50 million, 20 million, and then become the rails of the financial system. Meanwhile, again, touch the grass, don't get crazy, enjoy. For those who like football, the World Cup that is starting.
I think we're enjoying.
No,
I think we're enjoying the bear market again. I'm so tired of enjoying.
Marco,
enjoy.
We are tired of winning. We are tired of winning, Mr. President.
Except if you are Marco or our Chilean followers, enjoy the World Cup. Or if you're Chilean, you can root against Argentina. If you're Italian, I don't know, but enjoy the World Cup. It's amazing.
Look, if you think you are down, think about me. Italy is not in the World Cup. Bitcoin crash, and I need to explain for the next months that is still okay, and people dunk on me every day because I mean all my friends, ex-colleague, etc. knows it. AC Milan is in the worst period of time ever. I'm a big supporter of AC Milan, so it's if you think you're down bad, think that someone else might be even in a worse situation than you.
There is always someone.
There is always
suffering
someone
more
in
than
worse.
No, of course. The thing is that, again, no, for me, the only problem is Bitcoin. Because let me tell you one thing. Last crash was 20. Let me put in the skin of the 4-year cycle guys. 2022, Bitcoin crashed. Argentina world champion. 2026 crashed. Argentina, let's see what happened. On football, I'm okay because my team, I have the t-shirt here. This is my team from Argentina. We are first.
Just don't mention the war. Just don't mention the war. It's not going to be understood.
This is my great team in Argentina that we are in second division. Probably we will reach first division after 50 years, but let's see what happens. But yeah, again, Bitcoin is gonna recover sooner or later. We've been here before. We are gonna be here. Probably in like a couple of years, we will be talking about that. Oh, people is complaining because Bitcoin dropped from 500,000 to 400,000 in one day. So this is gonna happen forever.
I'm waiting for the people who in the new all-time high are gonna call you and say how lucky you are that you got Bitcoin early without remembering weeks like this week.
Yeah, and they would say without doing nothing, doing nothing.
Yeah, you just get rich by doing nothing.
Doing nothing.
Come to this week,
please, doing nothing,
and see how much we are enjoying.
Again, yes, guys, thank you very much for being here. It's been a pleasure. Immortal and me, our handle, the Bitcoin _ is over there. You can follow us. You can follow, even if you are English speaking, our Telegram group, BMF Club, Bitcoin BMF Club. But for Marco, what is your social media so our followers can also follow you?
Yeah, only on X at Batistoshi93. And yes, I think in this time you will see me more try to defend Bitcoin in the more value, principle, and ethical side rather than what really happened on the specific day or the specific person is bad for Bitcoin, etc. Try to go back to principle, try to go back to fundamentals, because again, I think in bear market is the best time to go back and try to understand more Bitcoin, because as we all know, it's much deeper than we think. And sometimes it's good to just take time to appreciate more side of this beautiful innovation, this beautiful protocol and idea that Satoshi gave us. So I think it's a great time when price is down to go up with knowledge.
Yes, and are you still writing the book?
And kind of, but again, it's more on my phase when I feel more energetic. Maybe in bull run it's easier. in bear it's a bit more complex. But yeah, I'm writing more articles now, and then maybe I will pack all them together and try to have this kind of book. But I want also to write some substance. Not just typing on OpenAI or Claude, copy paste. And now people they release paper every day. I just wrote a paper in 3 hours. Man, what the fuck? What are you doing? Is really that innovation, or there is really good content in that? I understand that those AI will help you a lot, but again, writing a paper every 3 hours, have you had time to review the sources? Have you had time to double check everything you said? Did you trust so blindly someone else typing for you? So again, I want to put my effort behind it and try to write something that makes sense rather than just spending token on someone else writing stuff and just posting, claiming that I'm a genius, So
excellent. Thank you very much. And which team are you supporting in the World Cup?
Maybe Argentina. Let's see. So you guys, I hope we can have another Argentina's victory of 2026. It would be nice.
It's gonna be funny if Argentina does good in the World Cup. Plus, it's the last World Cup of Messi. So, Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, the big
football is going to end probably. So everything is ending.
Yeah, everything is. And then despite this
World Cup, it's football bear market after this.
Yeah. Despite to be honest, I'm not even
the real 4 cycle is the World Cup.
Yeah, but the thing is,
There was
I,
there was no such a thing like a Bitcoin for 4-year cycle.
Not the,
I
the
It's
think-
always the World Cup 4-year cycle.
I think that again, like it's not the same of when I was a kid. The World Cup. I'm not as excited as before. I don't think that we will never have another Italia 1990, Italy 1990 again with this emotion for everyone. But let's see. Enjoy the World Cup. It's gonna be a massive event. Football still the king of sports. So let's enjoy this party. Again, guys, thank you very much. Have a great weekend and see you on the next week. Let's see. Let's hope next week we can talk about Bitcoin going higher, but who knows? Meanwhile, stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi.